Hi guys, welcome to another reading vlog, or like a little TBR. I do have a bit of a theme for this TBR, but we are going to start with a little bit of a haul. I know I was going to read everything on my bookshelf, but this year has been the year of memoirs. I do want to preface before we get into this video, don't really know the definition, the difference in the definition of a memoir and an autobiography. I think a lot of the books I'm going to be reading are memoirs. And I ordered a few on Amazon because they had their Black Friday sale. So yeah, there is one of this lineup that is off of my bookshelf. So I'll start with that before we open up my Amazon packages. And the first book that I'll be reading, well, not the first book, but the first in the lineup is Making a Scene by Constance Wu. This really caught my attention last year. I was just like looking through all the books at Big W, and I think I've only seen one thing that Constance Wu has been in, and I actually know nothing about her, but I was like, this seems really intriguing. The cover was obviously very eye-catching, so I am curious to know a little bit more about her. I did start it last year, but then I fell out of reading, so I will be giving this one a read again. The biggest things that she's been in, I would say there's a TV series called Fresh Off the Boat, which I have always wanted to watch, but I just haven't gotten around to it. And I have seen her in Crazy Rich Asians, so I'm curious to know more about her life. She grew up in Richmond, Virginia, and I guess she was just raised to be, I think she just always had a really big personality, and she was often told that wouldn't get her very far. The opposite would get her further. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, by being a big personality, it wasn't going to get her into doors that she wanted to open. So that will be one of the books that I will be reading. And I really just don't know anything about her, but I would love to know more. So that would be the first book. Let's get on to the rest of them. Actually, I think I do have a physical copy in here, but I have already started Pageboy by Elliot Page, and I've been listening to the audiobook on Spotify. It's really interesting. I realized that I know so much less about celebrities than I thought I did. Like, I didn't know Elliot was Canadian. So I've been reading that, and so far it's been quite a shocking, I was gonna say shocking read, but technically a shocking listen. Like, I obviously knew being a child star in Hollywood was like not fun, but obviously growing up in Canada, like, it's a little bit different, but still, like, wow, you really expose yourself to a lot of predatory people. So that's what I've been reading so far. I don't know where I'm up to, but I'm gonna open up this package now and stop. Yeah, I'm so excited. These are all paperbacks because they were cheap. We've obviously got Pageboy. I want to see if I can try and find where I'm at. Oh, that's actually, I think this is where I'm at. Yeah, okay, so I'm at about page 60. So far, I'm really enjoying it because I just think it's really important, even if you are or are not in the LGBT community, like, it is good to listen to these stories. And obviously, like, a trans journey is very prominent right now. Like, we should be reading more trans authors. So I have been really enjoying this. So I mentioned in my previous blog that I started reading Julia Fox Down the Drain. Well, I started listening to it on an audiobook at the start of the year, and I just want to continue with it and listen to it because she is such an interesting person. She has had a very curious, chaotic life, and she's just such an interesting person. I feel like, I don't know what her star sign is. She might be a Scorpio. I need to look up her birth chart actually. Julia Fox. Oh, she's an Aquarius. Gotcha. So she is quite an intriguing character. She is, ooh, an Aquarius with a Taurus moon. I have a Taurus moon. I haven't quite lived the same life that she has, but I'm very excited to read this. Wow. This next one I'm like dying to read because I've been following this person online for quite some time. If you're Australian, you definitely know who Froomes is, but she recently came out with her own book. I want to say this is a little bit more of an autobiography than it is a memoir. This definitely focuses, I've heard, mostly on her journey with her body and like her struggle with eating disorders, and like just the way that food and body image has just, that completely changed her pathway in life. This Is All I Ever Wanted Was to Be Hot by Lucinda Price, aka Froomes. And lucky last, I did not think I was going to read this book, but I recently was talking to a family member about it and she said that this book was amazing. I have heard excerpts of it just on TikTok and from like reviews, and that is Britney Spears, The Woman in Me. I obviously know about her like conservatorship. Is that what it's called? Conservatorship? I think so. I'm going to roll with that. I know about like her history with Justin Timberlake that came out in this book, but a family member told me that it was just written so well, and like she listened to the audiobook of it and she just found that it was just so well written and like really heartfelt. So I did pick that up just out of curiosity. I just had a lot of like, I didn't know if like this was coming from like the right place. Obviously we know Britney has had a really terrible journey recently, or most of her life, but especially it's been highlighted in media recently. So I am quite curious. Anyways, that's my lineup. I did get 2 other books, but they are for self-help. So I'm wanting to help myself. Hi queens. I'm currently on a walk and I'm listening to Pageboy. I'm exactly halfway through now. I'm at chapter 17 and there's 35 chapters. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit bored. I wasn't in the beginning, like the whole first half of the book is actually really good, but I respectfully like completely like for the last 10 minutes I have not been listening. Sorry. I have just put it up to 3 speed and hopefully that gets me to where I want to be, which is enjoying the book again. That's my update. So I finished Pageboy. I finished it all on audio and I am rating it. I know I find it so hard. I feel like it's a 5 stars, but also it's a 4. I think I'm gonna rate it a 4 overall. To be honest, I know in my last clip I said I was a little bit bored, but it was only like 1 or 2 chapters that bored me. Like everything else was really interesting. So I don't know, I feel like it's really harsh me giving it a 4, but I don't know, I really liked it, and I don't know why this is like surprising. I just found that like obviously both of our experiences, like we're both in the LGBTQIA plus community, but our experiences are both very different. Like my journey with identity and my queerness is so different to Elliot's, but there was so much of this book that I was just like, oh my god, like that is so true. I don't know how to sound smart, so I'm just gonna keep it simple, but the experience between his identity and queerness and like the expectations of the world and the pressure to conform. Like I think that's where I really felt I could relate, because being bisexual, you have this power to pass, I guess. Like you have this ability to choose the side of yourself and be like, no, like I can still exist in my queerness but live in this reality that seems straight and normal and like I can get away with it. But it was just like Elliot really tried to conform and tried to, like, it wasn't a story of like, I have always lived in my truth, I am not afraid to be who I am. Like he really did struggle with that, and like that was really nice. It was just really comforting to hear that, because like it takes a lot of confidence, and like people who are confident and like just out and brave like that, like it takes a lot to be that brave, like more than the normal person realizes. Like I didn't even know for half my life like I was living in the side of myself that was safe. So I don't know. Anyways, this is becoming about me. I really liked the book, but I really enjoyed that it was not in chronological order, and I respected that was also, like I could see, I didn't feel like it threw me off the story. Like I feel like I still kind of was able to keep up, but I appreciated that because obviously it was to kind of throw off the chronological order of things, just to keep things private. Obviously there was a lot of experiences and relationships in his life that person was closeted, and like that person was not comfortable with being out. So like I really appreciated that it was not in chronological order, so that the reader couldn't kind of figure out who it was. Like I thought that was really kind. And there's just so much I didn't know about him. Like I didn't even know he was Canadian. First of all, that was like a shocker to me, and I was like, oh, I feel like that makes sense. And I feel like I've left this book being a bigger fan, or like not even a fan, like I'm not really a fan of things, but I feel like I'm walking like on the other side of this book. I have definitely I know a different version of this person and I appreciate that person. Like I feel tied to them in a way that, like, you know what I mean? I just feel like I have a different kind of connection to Elliot now that I would have never had before because I didn't even know much about him. So, oh, it's probably a 5 stars. I don't know. I already rated it on Goodreads as soon as I finished it because it's really satisfying and I put a 4. But I think I'm just like hypercritical. I didn't film any B-roll with this, so let's find a spot for it on my shelf. Okay, so we had to get a new bookshelf because I broke the last one. You would have seen me set this up on my Vlogmas. Hopefully I've uploaded that, but this is the section that has like self-help and like memoirs, autobiographies. I feel like I like the black and whiteness there. Like that looks nice. So with that, I started a new audiobook. I feel like I'm getting through these pretty much like in audio form. This one I have like no expectations and already I'm kind of enjoying it. The chapters are really short, so I feel like I'm gonna get through it really fast. But so far, making me emotional because she's just a little baba. And like I'm scared because like I know she has a really hard life and she's just a little baba girl. So I'm excited to keep reading Britney. Hi guys, it's actually the middle of the night, 1:47 to be exact, but I can't sleep and I also can't stop thinking about this book. I really want to get through it. It's making me, I think I already mentioned this in the last clip, but it's making me really emotional. I think this is so well written. I don't know why I didn't expect that it would be. It really captures like her essence. Like she's just a family, a kind, polite, family orientated people pleaser, like so many of us are. And I'm loving that like the books that I'm reading, so obviously this one and the last, it's like they're mentioning like moments in their career and like I can literally just look it up online. I don't know, it feels a little bit dystopian but also really fun. Like I just read the chapter where she did the interview with Diane Sawyer and like that interview was like really confronting and like she wasn't in a good place. And I didn't know about it, so like hearing it from her perspective, and then I went and watched the interview and I was like, wow, first of all, rudest interview ever, but also like knowing where she was mentally and like in that space in her life and how she presented herself so well in the media. Like it was just crazy to hear it from another perspective. And I also found it really interesting that like how close she was with Madonna. I didn't know they had like a thing, no, not a thing, but like I didn't know that Madonna influenced Britney so much, and like they had very similar like spiritual views, and like I think that Madonna introduced her to Kabbalah, which is like a way of like, I don't know much about it, but like it's like a way of like thinking spiritually. So I want to finish this tonight. Change this. Whoa. So I finished the book and I also got some sleep. This was a 5-star. I don't know, I just would never have picked it up. I don't know. But wow, it was so awful. I think I I cried a few times reading the end of it. I'm being so weird. I'm so tired. We have 3 left. I know I want to do this one on audio. I know that I am avoiding starting this one. Don't know why. And I know that I'm most excited about this one. So we're gonna start this one today. I don't really know how to explain this book, but I know it's obviously about her struggles with body image. I'm just gonna read you the blurb. I've always known that a woman's greatest power is her looks. For most of her life, I just took it as the way things were, a fact not worth interrogating since it was so obviously true. For her entire life, Lucinda's mission was to look as hot as possible. She nipped, tucked, bleached, cut, plucked, plumped, shaved, taped, lasered, tanned, crunched, squatted, and starved. Then she broke. All I ever wanted was to be hot is a funny, provocative retrospective on the last 36 years of Western beauty standards. From Victoria's Secret to Extreme Makeover, Playboy bunnies to the Australian media's fascination with Lara Bingle, Lucinda unfurls the tentacles of the culture, hell-bent on making women feel like happiness is always just 5 kilos away. With her offbeat humour and incisive cultural commentary, Lucinda tells the unfiltered story of someone overcoming an eating disorder and rebuilding, illuminating our enduring obsession with appearance by holding a bedazzled mirror up to her own beliefs. A hilarious, insightful deep dive into self-image, desirability, pop culture, and power. I'm so sorry to Lucinda. I'm DNFing this book. I don't know, I don't like the way it's structured. I couldn't tell if it was Froomes talking or some other random talking about how they regret getting their nose jobs. Just like, I feel like I just can't relate. Like, I understand hating yourself or hating a feature, but like all of these people in this book could so easily and effortlessly just get surgery to change it. And they did. And then like they grew to regret it. I don't know, I could be wrong. Like I've only read like this much, but like it's just coming across really pretentious because that is such a luxury that literally the normal person cannot afford. So it's giving rich girl vibes. Or like my mummy and daddy are rich and paid for my nose job. And I can so easily and effortlessly afford surgery to change something about myself that I don't like. And I just can't relate to that. Like I can understand hating yourself. I hated my nose when I was growing up. And I think my sister also hated her nose growing up. And she got a nose job. I didn't. I kind of grew, I kind of got a toe cramp. I kind of grew out of hating myself. And I don't think I spent a lot of my life hating myself. Like I was a very confident person. So I did have a hard time putting myself in the shoes of the people in this book. I don't know, the writing style and just the voice and the perspective and the tone and the bias was just a little bit privileged. I had like looking at like there's so many like recommendations like plastered all over the book, and like that was my first red flag where I was like it's all like really popular names in Australia, and I'm like I feel like the endorsements were making me a little bit, I really had high hopes for this. This was the one I was most excited for. I'm going to keep trying to skim through it, but I don't think I'm going to read this. Star rating on this one's going to be 2 because it might just not be for me. Hi guys. Oh my god. I feel like every time I'm making updates in this video, it's in the middle of the night. It's almost midnight. I'm just an insomniac and I tend to do a lot of my reading in the middle of my insomnia. But in saying that, I actually did finish Making a Scene by Constance Wu on audio. And I did actually record my initial thoughts like right after I finished reading it. Felt very raw and real, but the audio didn't work. I filmed it in my car and I think like the CarPlay fucked up my audios. Cause like that was really real and raw and I forgot everything I said. I wrote notes. But basically the first thing I want to say, and I had time to fact check myself. Oh my god, I'm sorry. I'm having a really good eye rub right now. I went on Goodreads afterwards and I was like reading through, and a lot of the comments, even with highly rated high star ratings, agreed with me, even though I rated this 1 star. But I managed to actually get through it, like I think because I just have like so much time. And also I had the physical book and I'm like, I'm not putting this back on my shelf unless I've finished it. But I want to start off by saying this book, I don't know much about Constance Wu. Like I think I've only watched her in a few things. I'm not her biggest fan. This book is definitely catered to her biggest fans, or like her fans that already know everything about her and kind of want like a bit of extra bonus exclusive Constance, which really cuts off a lot of people. Like I don't know anything about her. I went in with this like having no idea about like her personality off screen. It didn't make me love her, respectfully. This is what my notes say. I'm just gonna read them. So first note is that I was very confused as to what this kind of book was. Like obviously I thought it was a memoir, and the more I was reading it, like it was kind of just giving me chapters of like her life, but like with no means to an end. We're being told a whole story, like we learned all about like her jobs as a teenager, but there was never really like a point to it. Like it wasn't like, and that's where I learned like compassion, or that's where I learned blah blah blah. It's like, anyways, that's where I worked for this company for this many years and learned how to make bread. And I was like, okay, like what was I supposed to gain from learning this about you? Sorry, this might come across very cynical, but I've had time to mull over my 1 star review. Anyway, so then it made me Google. I was like, I'm gonna Google if this is a memoir or an autobiography. And And then Google told me it was a collection of essays. And that kind of made me feel more frustrated because like I feel like the point of an essay is like, I don't know, I want to say it's to teach a lesson. It doesn't have to. It could be just like a beautiful point that it's making, or like, I don't know, I feel like essays have a purpose, and like literally 80% of this book, the essays had no purpose. Like we actually gained nothing from it. She learned nothing from it. Like she was just telling us stuff about her life. The last few chapters kind of like, they were a little bit circadian. I feel like that's the wrong word. That they had like a lesson. But that was literally like only the last 3 chapters. So yeah, didn't really like the structure. I really expected a lot more. Like obviously like it's called Making a Scene, and I think it was like it was meant to be showing us moments in her life where she should have made a scene, or she did make a scene. I don't know. I really thought also that she was holding back a lot in stories. Like it felt like I wasn't getting authenticity. Like all of her stories are quite one-sided. My last point, let's see. The last point was me saying like the writing was just really boring. It was not, I didn't consider it to be great writing. And she really, like, I think she just really tried hard to hone in on like humble beginnings. And I don't know, I feel like she just, like, if I knew her in real life, we wouldn't be friends. And I think, I don't know, I feel like she tried to counteract a lot of her story. I just feel like she hit a lot. Like it was a very one-sided like journey through her life, and even though she was trying to be poised, she still came across like very egotistical and arrogant, and always felt like we were missing a piece of the story. So anyways, going into this book, I was excited to learn more about this person that I knew nothing about, but I actually left learning that I actually don't really like this person. And I also looked up her birth chart as I was reading because I was like, what the fuck? She's an Aries, but I know Aries people, and yes, they are quite self-centered, but they're not usually this naturally like egotistical, narcissistic. I don't know what the word is. Definitely reads like the fact that there is pictures. I feel like this is a biography. And I have started down the drain on audio. I just love Julia Fox. Like I already love her. This book makes me love her more. We will touch it another time. I realize I haven't filmed a lot of clips like of me reading. So this is going to be a very chatty vlog. Alright besties, I feel like this reading vlog has been really boring because I actually didn't get any cute cutscenes. I mostly just get me talking about the book after I've read it. But I finished Julia Fox's Down the Drain audiobooks. That means this read with me is complete. And I can go back to mood reading. I'm such a mood reader. I just like to read as I go. I cannot handle commitment, but I still really enjoyed this because I have wanted to read a lot of these books for a very long time. Julia Fox's book Down the Drain, I knew it was going to be a masterpiece. She is quite the voice of, I want to say this generation, but like she's also older than me, so like I don't know what the right term to use is, but she's definitely an influential voice in the world. I just really love like her perspective on life, her perspective on people. Like she is so intelligent and like knowledgeable from like a life experience point of view. Like she's been through so many things that like, oh, excuse me, just turning a corner. She's been so much that her wisdom like is so just like rooted in reality. But also, yeah, I wanted to say that like, so mine and Julia Fox's lives are very different. I smoked a little bit of weed when I was a teenager, but it was never like, we did not live similar lifetimes. Same with like relationships. Like I didn't have a long-term relationship until I was in the one that I am in now, so I definitely haven't lived in that department. But like we couldn't be further from like different lifestyles, but like it wasn't fun. I don't want to say the word fun. It was entertaining to put myself in her shoes and like understand why she does the things that she does. She reminds me of a lot of people in my life that I know, and I know a lot of people who struggle with bipolar disorder, which she was diagnosed with. So it brought me a lot of perspective as to like why people with bipolar disorder act the way they do, you know, like it really kind of, I don't mean that insultingly, but like I know some people in my life that I'm like, wow, if I had only just put myself in their shoes, as I did with Julia Fox, I would have been more kind and understanding, you know what I mean? So I really enjoyed that aspect. And it also reminded me of, I think I brought this up when I was reading Elliot Page's book, is that it felt like a mixed media experience. Well, same with Britney Spears. Like a lot of these celebrity memoirs, it has felt like I was experiencing something mixed media, because they would bring up a situation in their life and I would Google that moment. Like I think Julia Fox was talking about like obviously she was talking about all of her relationships. She did change the names, which I didn't even realize until I started to Google. Like I wanted to see what people looked like. Like I looked up her, the guy that she married, and I was like, oh, he's actually like this guy she just named in something else in the book. And it was just like nice to like put names to faces. I also looked up like when she said she came out with this fashion line and like this certain runway that she was in. I like Googled those runways. I was like, fucking Schiaparelli's, blah, blah, blah. I don't even know. And I got to see the pictures and like see what she was wearing, her lipstick, like how she was in that era of her life. But no, it was a really fun experience to be listening to that. And I didn't expect to cry, because like obviously it was a really like, her life has a lot of up and downs, so like it was a little bit of a roller coaster, but it made me really emotional at the end. Like obviously the end, like it kind of becomes a little bit of a reflection on her life, and like she's experienced a lot of loss in her life. In the end I just got quite emotional, and like she really kind of put her foot down when it came to boundaries, and like she just, her growth as a person from like the beginning of the book to the end was just like, wow. She's quite strong, that woman. Like she's quite incredible. I knew I was gonna love it, so it is a 5 stars from me. Anyways, that is the end of my vlog, guys. It's also yeah, I don't know what else to say. Obviously we technically DNF'd one book, but I'm okay with that. I actually looked up reviews after I DNF'd All I Ever Wanted was to Be Hot, and a lot of people did agree, like it's definitely for a specific audience, which is the same as the fuck, why am I so blank these days? Constance Wu. Same as Constance Wu's book. It's just like so for a specific audience, and that audience just wasn't me. Like whereas you think of Julia Fox, like I am not her ideal audience. Like I don't know, I have never done a hard drug in my life. I'm not a partier. I'm really like, we couldn't be so different. But it wasn't for a specific audience. It wasn't for the party people. It was for anyone who was interested in her like introspections of life. Like it was just like, I just really feel like those two that I didn't enjoy were the two that had a specific audience in mind, and I wasn't it, and I couldn't get through it. Like I just feel like you shouldn't write a book for a really small minority of people. So that's my video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I'm so sorry I didn't get any like fun B-roll. Like this was just like fucking probably 30 minutes of me talking shit. So thank you for watching if you made it. Let me know what you want me to read next in my read with me videos. I'm going to be celebrating Christmas, and then we're going camping in the new year. Or maybe I'll bring a book camping. But I think I might take a little reading holiday and read just something for fun over the New Year's Christmas period. So thank you. I'm not going to vlog it. Love you.